Hello and welcome. Today in this segment of my Intro to Design course, I'm going to discuss lighting with you. In previous video that I made, I discussed local lighting, so the lighting for this fire here, and some of the different lights that you could use to light a small area. But today, if you open up your Explorer, we're going to be talking about this lighting right here. You may have to close your workspace if it's open. Just close it up. And you'll see we've got some options here, and these are for the these are for the whole game, pretty much. So we'll go here, ambient lighting. We'll just start from the top here. Ambient lighting here. This is the just ambient lighting that will be throughout your place. So right now it's black, so nothing will get added, but let's lighten it a bit. And you can see we can change ambient lighting, and with that the feel of the game. And normally you don't necessarily need to mess with this. The defaults work pretty well, but tweaking these can be helpful. So we'll hit cancel there. Brightness. This is how bright the sun is. So 10, sun's really bright, 1's default, nothing, sun's not giving off any light. It's just the general rest of the lighting. So we'll set it back to 1. Color shift, bottom. So this is the color. Let's bring this up. So you might want to have your shadows be purple, so you could set the color shift on the bottom to be purple, so darker areas here that are getting shadowed you can see purple, and maybe you want lighter areas to be like a nice golden orange. So there you can see where the sun's hitting, it's all orange, but in these shadows they're purpler. And so that's what those do. Set them back to normal. Global shadows. This is whether dynamic lighting is enabled, I believe, according to the wiki. Let's see here. Here's the lighting that I brought up on the wiki. You can just go to wiki.roblox.com, and right here, global shadows here, says that it toggles dynamic lighting for the place. So we have that right there. So if we turn it off, you'll see there's not, it'll be darker. And if you turn global shadows off, then you're going to want to be using ambient to help light it. Our outdoor ambient, this is the general ambience from the sun. So we can change that to whatever we wanted to. We could make it darker, make it lighter. The outlines, this is a big one. It does relate to lighting. It's much more important, I would say, maybe to building, but they are quite interconnected. You can see here we have 2 parts, and there's a very distinct line right here along the edges. So you can easily see where one part ends and another begins. And this is super useful, I find, for when I'm building stuff, especially when it's a lot of the same color. So I can easily distinguish between different parts, like these 2 here. And if you do have a lot of small parts in the same area, even though they're the same color, you'll notice that sometimes they do have slightly different shades of a base color. And outlines, normally it's on, but if you turn it off, everything is pretty much set to that base color, and all of those outlines are turned off. So now everything looks a lot smoother. And you can see here, you can still tell that these are 2 parts. You can see the seam where the textures are different, but from further away it doesn't look too bad, and there's no obvious difference in parts here, where previously there were 2 parts. you would have to look really closely to even find where that seam was, if you can even find it. Personally, I like to build with outlines on. It helps me see where all the parts are, and then in the end turn it off for the final, when I'm done, for the final product of whatever I'm designing. Geographic latitude, that's pretty descriptive. It's where you are in the world. The name, this is obviously lighting. Our parent, this will be the place or game. And time of day, this is the next big important one. Right now it is 2 o'clock. This is military time, so it goes from 0 at midnight all the way to 24, which is back to midnight. So right now it's 2 o'clock, and the sun sets around 6 or 1800 hours. So we could set it to this, and you'll notice that might be a little tricky to see. Set it back to 14. You'll notice like shadows are here right now. If we set it to like 17, you'll notice the shadows get a lot longer coming from the sun. And then, so you know, depend if you're inside for the entirety of your map, what you choose to do for your time of day may vary. The fog color, this you're not actually going to see this right now, so let's go to the fog end. Fog, I'll just show you what it is. It's this. So fog will basically hide anything past the a certain distance and simply color it a particular color. So if we go here, fog ends at 100. So at 100 studs from the camera, any part or block past that distance will just be the fog color. The fog start is where the fog starts, so 0 would be at the camera. If I set it to, let's say, 50, you can see 50 studs away from the camera, the fog will start going to through a gradient all the way to 100. So we could have this, you can see it's right about here, starts having fog all the way back to there. If I set this back to 0, you'll notice it brings the fog in closer. And then you can change the color of your fog with this. You can make it darker, lighter. You can also pick a screen color, so let's say we wanted to match the match some of the skybox there, and then we could maybe push it out to about 250. So there kind of helps us blend in blend the difference, or I guess where the base plate ends. So it kind of melts into the sky and it looks better that way. So those are the different properties of lighting, and let's go ahead and use them quickly. We've got this nice fire. We want to make it maybe it's a nice evening. This guy's been hard at work outside doing something, and it's time to just relax in front of the fire. So we can set it to night. We'll just set it to midnight, have it a little darker. And the outdoor ambient we're going to bring down, so we'll have it kind of dark. So now we're just getting a lot of color from the fireplace right here. It's just a little dark out. And then we could change the color shift a little. I don't know if it'll make too much difference in this scene since the sun's not out, but let's see. We might want to have it, you know, sun makes a little lighter, and then use a little bit of purple. Now there, you can see it in the background right there. Bring it here. We don't need a lot, just a little bit. And this will bring a little more. orange. There we go. And the ambience is a little low, so we'll bring that up just a smidge. So now we have a nice place. We might so you can see, even though the sun's gone, see, we don't need fog for this, so we're gonna make it end really far away. Basically nullify it. So you can see we're getting a little bit of the sun's reflection here, or maybe it's the moon, but this is inside and I don't want that. So I'm going to turn the brightness to 0 so we can eliminate that, and then we're just getting lighting here from our fireplace. So that all looks great. And then maybe if we were just going to get a picture here and we wanted to really darken the corners, we could potentially try maybe adding, start the fog at maybe 20. See, so there, if you have them the same, you'll see it's literally just a wall of blackness. But we want it maybe 30. So there we can just kind of darken the corners, and we could take this out a little more, so it's just a little bit in the corners there. And there you go. So you can use all of those. Color shift is great for cartoony stuff when you want to have some unusual colors. And then just lighten that up a little bit. So we could have it just for this corner. We could pick something that kind of matches this and then just bring it just ever so slightly darker, so it actually looks like a shadow in the corner there now. Nice. So there you go. You can mess around with all of these. You know, you might want the whole scene for some reason to be slightly more orange, so you could bring a little bit of an orange tint to it there if you wanted. But this looks pretty good. And then in our next video, we've got our lighting. We've got, you know, a few props, but we'll look at some other tools that we may use to build some other props for this scene. So until then, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.